going on, YouTube? It's Rob from the Real Sharks Podcast with Squid.
Hey guys.
And Steve.
Yo.
And welcome to this very special episode, rocking to you live on your airways. And when we have a little signal crossed, we just want to put a little straight on it and let you guys hear the #1 movie podcast on the internet. That's right, the Real Sharks Podcast. And today we are going to be joined by a very special guest, Mr. Joshua Schubart from the show After. And we're actually going to, before he comes on, we're actually going to show you guys a trailer from his show After. And this is going to be that trailer right here. And afterwards, we're going to be joined by, no pun intended, by Joshua.
So, I thought we could play a game. What would you do if I died? What if a satellite fell out of orbit and crushed me?
I don't know. I'd probably be really sad and cry forever.
And after that?
Yo, did you just slap me?
Yeah.
Would you be with someone else?
Oh.
If I just say yes, will you shut up about it? I used to be married.
Oh.
Just promise me, all right?
What happened?
My immune system is attacking my internal organs.
Yes, please. I need a hug, please. We have to see a doctor. We have to get a second opinion. You can't just...
No. Jeremy, just fucking promise me, okay?
Give me yours.
And welcome to the show, Joshua.
Hi.
Welcome to Real Sharks. Thank you for coming on with us today.
Sure. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no problem. So we, before we keep on, we were just showing our audience the trailer for After.
Oh, cool.
And I gotta say, wow. There's not too many trailers these days. I actually have kind of a bias against trailers. I don't believe in them.
Okay.
And this one really, I was like, oh wow. Like when I saw it, I have to say, I was pretty. It got me immediately interested.
Oh, cool, man.
Wow, really powerful. It was powerful. That's why I called these guys. I was like, did you guys see that trailer I sent you? I was like, that is power, man. I was like, that's the way you do a trailer. Oh, that's the way you do a trailer. So tell our audience a little bit about After.
Sure. So After is a TV show about a young widower who has to move back home and tries to get back into the dating game. It's a exploration of like life, horrible loss, and moving on through mental illness in a positive way. And it's also really funny.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about it, because when it first started, I was like, oh, okay, so this is like, I thought it was like one of those breakup kind of, pieces where it's like, oh, the guys are trying to get back on his feet, but then it kept doing the whole, why do you keep asking me? Your performance with that too was great.
Oh, thanks.
And it was just like, oh, wow. I even got to say, my grandmother was actually watching it over my shoulder, and she was like, wow, I'd watch that.
Wow, that's an honor, actually. That's so cool.
Yeah, she really thought it was. She was like, "That's a movie I'd watch, Rob." She's like, "That's a movie I definitely would see."
Awesome. Well,
so, go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about yourself, Josh.
Sure. I am an actor, writer, producer, voiceover artist, and I also do my own stunts. I live in New York. I've been acting since I was in my early teens. I'm married, and I'm a Libra.
Virgo.
Nice.
So what is it like? What's it like coming out with a new series like that? I mean, how long did it take you guys to film the whole series? Like, what was the whole general process and idea for it? Like, where did you come up with the idea to be like, that's where I'm going with on this project?
So it actually came to me on my actual wedding day, which I know sounds kind of like, oh, that sounds weird, but I had just said I do, and I was walking away from the altar holding my new wife's hand, and I just immediately thought, like, holy shit, like, what the fuck would I do if you died? And not in like a, like, man, I can't wait for you to die way, but like I don't know if like any of you guys are married, but when you make that choice to be with another person for the rest of your life, it is like it changes you right afterwards. Like you can like speak about it and you can have conversations with like with your friends, but like when it actually happens, it just like codifies a thing in your brain. And it was a question that kept coming up in my mind over and over and over again, until I had to kind of be like, what the fuck would I do? And I've had my own issues with my own history with mental illness. So I wanted to kind of show a person who was also larger. Like I'm a much bigger man than like the like average man. So most of the roles that I had were like either me punching you in the face or me being like really funny or me being really bad. And I wanted to be able to be the human being that we all are, no matter
Absolutely.
what. Yeah. So that's kind of why I made this, and that's kind of where it came from. And I'm happy people like it because
They say the best work is the work that's actually part of ourselves.
yeah,
And I think that it shows. I really gotta say, I think it really does show in that in the trailer, in the series. It really does come forth as meaningful. It really does put a what if, because I won't lie. After I saw that trailer, I put myself in that, because I think about being a father. If I was ever to lose my son,
right,
to try
right,
and I try to put myself in that place for a moment, and I'm like, oh my God. And I meet people who actually lose their children, and I'm like, you're stronger than me, because I don't know how I could deal with it. I just don't
yeah. It's a thing that like everybody can kind of
relate to.
relate to, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like you either can't move on, or you move on in a really new, really beautiful way that is really not expected. So, and that's life, right? And that's, well, what I was trying to do with the show. I was just like, here's life. It's awful and it's messy and it's beautiful and it's insane, but it's so wonderful. And here's why. And I hope that's what people get out of it.
I
Yeah.
definitely love that. I appreciate a show like what you created because it just puts all those kind of what ifs into place. My question is, how long did it take to film the entire series? I mean, did you
So
guys film in New York as well?
yeah, so we shot that out on Long Island, which is where I'm from, Long Island, New York.
Mhm.
Um, we hear a lot about it out here, but we don't really ever get to like see it in entertainment. And there's some really awesome places out here, really amazing people. Um, but we made the TV show in 18 motherfucking days.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Is
it
that a
was.
new record? Is that a new
I-
record, guys? I think that
I
might be a
think
new
that
record.
is.
If
Yeah,
it
It
is,
was-
I
it's
think
staying
that
close
might.
to it.
Because we've had
Wild.
people that have
Yeah.
shot their series and movies, and I think the shortest was, I could be misquoting it, and I'm sorry if I am, Rob. I think it was 2 weeks. I think that was what Rob Belika did for his
Oh,
series.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, that.
wow, 18
Yeah,
days.
it was we were very fortunate that everyone that came on board was extremely passionate about the show. They like fell in love with it, and everyone that I spoke to and like everyone that came on board had their own personal thing, like why they were here, why, and it was just so beautiful. And like I was so thankful that these people were able to be a part of this amazing healing art too, which was great. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is more of a relatable show. In 2021, you have an audience now, I think, that is more forgiving and acceptable to not only a main character with a mental illness, but just being able to show that yeah, he is a widower and he's not like an old elderly man. He's a younger guy, and it's relatable. There's a lot of people around that age that are divorced and they don't want to talk about it. They have a mental illness. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about their dating habits or their taste in women or men. And this trailer, it was just very. I almost went with the word visceral when I saw it, but more so raw, like but emotional raw, to where everybody feels that, no matter what race, creed, or gender. I feel like you feel that type of like that's this. I don't even know how to pronounce the emotion. It's just a pure emotion.
It's raw.
It's just raw. Yeah, it's just raw, like pain, loss, happy, sorrow. You're going through those ins and outs in life, and yeah, this is one of those shows that depicts that very well.
Fuck, man, that's holy shit, that's amazing. Yeah.
So Josh, tell us about some of your stunt work. What have you done stunt work on before?
Well, so I'm like an actor who like can do that too. I am not. Those people are some of the most incredible people that I've ever seen and that I've ever worked with. They do things that I will never do, like light themselves on fire and all that crazy shit.
Yeah.
But like I can do all of my own like hand to hand, all my own sword fighting work and
nice.
all my own firearm work.
Are you mastered in anything?
I am completely certified in making it look like I know what I'm doing.
Hey, that's good enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So when I was on the Tick, I did all of my own stunts, which was fantastic, and I loved it. And they also loved it because they didn't have to hire anybody else. and
how was it like working on the Tick?
It was one of the best experiences of my life. So I am and was a huge fan of the Tick. I got all the toys and all the Funko Pops and like all that stuff.
I love it.
But I grew up on the animated series and I loved that shit. Yeah. And I read all the comic books and I love the first live action show. So when I auditioned, yeah, Patrick Warburton is so funny, so awesome. I didn't even know what I was auditioning for. It was under a code name. I forget what it was, but when I went into the audition room, they were like, "This is a TV show called The Tick," and I was like the guy who looks like a tick, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, do you know what that is?" And I was like, no. I just had to like totally pretend, and then I did a lot of that because when I was cast, I lost my fucking mind, obviously, and then I got to meet Ben Edlund, who made the whole thing, and he wrote all of my character and was on set every day, and I had to pretend that, and like everybody that was in the show, like I've seen them in fucking everything else, right? So I just had to pretend that I didn't know anybody until the rap party, and I was like, "Oh my god, I've watched you in this and that," and then I'm like,
right.
Then we got to make.
So you're basically fanboying the entire time you were doing all this,
dude. The whole time.
Did you get any signatures though? Did you get autographs?
I didn't, but I got a lot of phone numbers. I got a lot of
connections, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
there
the
you
phone
go.
numbers are definitely like connections, but even so, I love collecting autographs. So that's why somebody can get any, because those can be worth some money too.
It can. It's just, it was such an honor to be part of that IP. Like, as a weirdo nerd person that came from a really weird life, when I was watching the Tick animated series, it made me feel like I had a voice, like I was normal and like I was seen for the first time. So it was a huge honor for me to be part of this new generation of the Tick. And I've heard from so many fans that they feel heard and they feel seen, and what we were speaking about on the show really resonated with them, which a huge theme on that show too was like mental illness was a huge theme. It's so good that especially men's mental illness is being so highlighted because it's so important, because men haven't spoken about this ever. It's so taboo, and it causes so many problems, right? Like, I'm so happy that we're able to just watch shows and love them and feel so connected to them. Yeah.
Where you don't feel so bad because, again, you're looking at a show on the surface, a guy in a blue suit called the Tick, but the psychology and just like you said, Joshua, the whole premise and the whole crux of how taboo it is for men to just not talk about any emotion, let alone their mental illnesses alone.
Yeah, you wussy, Steve. You big wussy talking about your feelings.
Right.
God.
As soon as you start saying anything about a feeling, right, you kind of feel that pressure that Rob is laying on. Like, I don't even want to bring it up because I don't even want to deal with that. But this show was not only redone in this generation, but well received, which was so cool to see that, because I do remember the Tick and Cycle for the old cartoons in the 90s. And just to see that come back, I was like, how do they do this? First of all, like, where did this come from? I haven't seen the show since the early 2000s when they tried to do that. And then they're coming back with this. I hope it does well. And it did well. And it was so cool to see that happen.
Yeah, it was great. I loved every fucking second of it. Yeah.
By the way, I really love all your memorabilia in the background there.
Oh, you want the nerd stuff? Yeah,
very
dude.
nice.
I love the nerd stuff.
Yeah, we love the nerd stuff. Look at us.
And I have
We're
my
nerds here.
my Batman shirt on. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
nice.
that's awesome.
So, speaking of remakes, we're going to go ahead and move into some movie news with you, Joshua. So, just join us here. So Zack Snyder's cut, the Snyder Cut of Justice League, as everyone knows, came out. Now they're in discussion about doing another Snyder Cut. This one, Steve, for, as you know, my favorite movie of all time, right? Sucker Punch. Oh God! Okay. So I want to get your guys' take on this. First of all, I'm gonna lay it out there. Sucker Punch was the movie that failed for me as a Zack Snyder fan. I'm just being completely honest here. If you guys like it, that's cool. That's you guys. But for me, it was just a music video, man, about a girl in an asylum. And it was just like a big music video. And especially the end was like kind of, to me, like almost like Next. Like, oh, of course, she's crazy, you know? And it was, I don't know. Do I think this needs a director's cut? Do you guys think it needs a Snyder cut?
Oh, man.
Steve, you want to go first?
Well, you know, I said it before. I feel like the Zack Snyder, because I like Zack Snyder, right? But I feel like he's becoming his own genre in films. Like, he's kind of like just transformed. Like, it's now like you can have horror, like love, rom-coms, and then Snyder stuff, because he's just creating his own world where, you know, Sucker Punch, how old is that film? You know what I mean? Like, I know it's still revered and it's still within the pop culture. Yeah, and it's in pop culture still. But it came out, probably in the early 2000s to 2010s, around that era. 2011. Yeah. So now you're talking about a good 10 years. So it's not too far removed. I'm not against it, but what crowd is he going to initially get is what I want to know. Like, who is going to come and be like, oh, I missed out on this.
What you're imagining right now?
I missed the 30 minutes of Sucker Punch.
Off the heels of the Justice League, they're just like, I got to get more Snyder.
That's right. They're just like, what else do you want? What else other cuts do you want? Did you want to put in there?
Well, he's certainly proved himself with the new cut. I mean, also say what you will about Sucker Punch as a story, because it's pretty weak, but just the way that it was shot and what Snyder did for movies, we see in every action-based type of movie since then. And that movie was really the first time that we really saw comic bookish type of action really explode onto the screen, other than maybe 300 with those crazy scenes.
There was that Zack Snyder era where they did 300 and then Sin City and all those kind of comic book films. And I do agree with you. I do love Zack Snyder. I loved his remake of Dawn of the Dead. I loved 300. I defend 300 all the time. It's just Sucker Punch was that one movie I was just like, I wanted more. I even love The Watchmen. I think The Watchmen is one of the greatest comic books of all time. Yeah. And I love his cut to The Watchmen. I love the extra hours on it.
Sucker Punch was his attempt at making a Americanized live action anime film.
I can see that. I can agree with
that.
Yeah,
I can see that. I mean, yeah. But
I mean, all the major fights were basically live action anime fights.
Yeah.
Much.
Yeah. But when I watch this movie, I have to agree with Rob. I wanted more. I thought there was going to be more. There was so much expectation behind this movie, and so amped saying this is Zack Snyder's next greatest movie that he's doing. This could possibly even come off of doing sequels, and how it ends kind of leaves it towards even possibly doing a sequel.
That's me though. Yeah.
But
well,
do I want a Zack Snyder cut of this? No. Not right now. If it's like after 20 years or a 25-year anniversary, then yeah, do the Snyder cut.
So you do
add the things.
You just don't want it now.
You just don't want it now.
If it's
serve it up to you later. God, you're a squid.
I am, but I do I'm making a point with this though. You have to agree with that, because I mean, there are those diehard fans who love this movie. And they want to see it. And I bet you a lot of those are the fans that are petitioning, saying that we have the Justice League Zack Snyder cut. I want this. Or, redo. Or even them saying, oh, is there even a Zack Snyder version of Day of the Dead? Or Dawn of the Dead?
There is. I've seen it. I own it. I love it.
Oh, yeah, they do. Well, but if there's
really
another version of it, something he added even more, because you never know. He might have more that he's never released from Dawn of the Dead.
Well, his new one looks like it's gonna be fucking sick. The
the
Army
Netflix one?
Yeah. It looks like it's just gonna be a wild madness army, crazy zombie, like
Dead.
Smart alpha crazy fucktown. Like it's gonna be fucking nuts.
Pretty much.
I think you have the better mindset of what we have going in for this film, where it's like you got to go into that film knowing you're gonna see a Snyder film and you're gonna see some tomfoolery, craziness. Yeah. From beginning to end in that one.
It's like Sonic the Hedgehog all over again, man.
But hey, say what you will about Sonic. Soninik did well though. After they got
Sonic was a gangster
with the children,
yeah.
I love that movie. I'll stand. Someone had to defend it, and I did.
I saw it in the movie theater, all right, and I had a great time.
I liked it. I liked it with my son. I thought it was great. I liked Jim Carrey. I thought it was fantastic. Okay, so what do you guys think about Amazon's now reportedly going to buy MGM for $9 billion, according to Variety? Is this the streaming wars continued, guys? Because, we have Amazon buying everything up, Hulu. They're all trying to buy up all the studios now, and that would mean most of MGM's copyright material would go to Amazon, like Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, man.
What do you think about this, John? Because you're in that industry. I mean, I know it's hard to get your film even seen nowadays, let alone get on. I mean, does it make it easier that these kind of corporations are buying up like these studios like that to be able to even get anything on, or is it making it harder for you to even get your stuff seen?
It depends, right? So, if Amazon just owns the IPs the way that Disney bought 21st Century Fox, right?
Right.
But as long as they don't put them under one casting or one acquisition umbrella, then it's the same type of thing, because it's every one of them has their own type of thing that they make or that they want to show, right? So everything's going to be different, and they all have their own heads of like half hour comedy or like hour-long dramas. Whereas if it's all under like one umbrella, then yeah, it'll suck because then it's just one or two people making all the choices for everything. But because of but but largely because of the monopoly laws in our country, they're not allowed to do that anymore. So although it's interesting to see what'll happen with the movie theaters and the movie studios, because originally, I don't know if you guys have spoken about this at all, but the movie theaters went independently because they were made to go there by the courts because the major Hollywood movie studios owned all of the movie theaters.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like movies went exclusively to like these X amount of theaters that were owned by like MGM, right? So that might happen again if they just like buy all the movie theaters again, which will be really weird because then it's like you need to only go to like an AMC to watch Marvel or whatever, which would actually kind of suck. But
that would be
Oh,
terrible.
boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It's
would
just part of
terrible.
the streaming wars. That's what I keep telling people. This is just more of the them buying up more and more property.
Look,
Just to
guys, time is just a flat circle, and it's all gonna go back to cable again, right? It's
Oh
just
yeah.
gonna,
Oh,
yeah.
we've been making
We're
this
already
point
leaning
for
there.
we've been making
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
point for a
We've been
long time
making this point for a long time.
because
It's
we've been
already
saying,
there.
look at all the stuff you buy anyway with streaming. You know, after you get Hulu, after you get everything, you're basically paying for cable again.
I know.
And then
You
then
are.
they already add the live service of streaming TV. They're just like, oh, just $50 more, you can get live television again. So you're like, it's only $50, you know.
Do I want
I'll get
pay
it. You know,
it?
you're back into the cable again.
And they also have their own like DVR now too, so it's the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
thing. It's the same
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah. And nobody's like, you know, it's like, yeah, but I really, really, really want to see X show. You know what I mean?
Speaking of X shows, I got one here for you, Steve. I know you're going to be excited about this as I am. So John Boyega is talking about ideas for the new Attack the Block 2 that might be rumored to come out. Have you seen Attack the Block, Josh?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
Oh,
excellent.
you got
excellent
I'm
gotta
gonna
movie.
add
watch
it to my list. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
excellent
a
you
kind of
gotta
movie.
watch it.
Excellent movie. We won't speak
that's
on
a movie. That's a
too
movie
much,
that
but
put
it's
on
good.
John Boyega, right? It put him
Yes.
onto the scene at a
Star
very young
Wars.
age. Yeah.
For Star Wars. And you know, it's kind of relatable to Clockwork Orange, but not in the weird way, but in the sense of like the English slang that they use.
Oh,
They
okay.
use like a completely different slang. And that's what's kind of part of the whole movie. It makes it pretty funny, I think, in all honesty. I mean, it's about basically these imagine aliens invading like the London Hood.
Oh, cool.
And there's a bunch of kids
Yes.
that are like little gangsters.
I would
That
watch that.
basically, oh, it's great. You should
Yeah.
just check out the
Oh,
trailer. The
damn.
trailer is amazing.
All right.
It's funny. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the main topic of tonight. So it's going to be a let's talk about, and the movie we're going to talk about is Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson. I know, Squid, I know you can't wait for this one, and I can't wait to hear your opinion on it because I know you said you had a lot to say about it. I'm going to say right off the bat, it was interesting. I actually kind of stumbled across this movie just recently, and it kind of struck me as I was like, why isn't this movie a little bit more renowned? It has a 6.7 on IMDb, 57% out of on Rotten Tomatoes. It gets a 49 on the Metacritic. For those of you who don't know, it's about Mel Gibson's. It's about basically he's like a conspiracy theorist, real paranoid guy, and he basically becomes part of a conspiracy. And ultimately, Julia Roberts helps him out. She's part of the FBI, and she even gets involved with it. I'm not going to tell everyone too much about it because I want everyone to go see it.
When was this made?
This was made in
97.
1997.
Okay, I was like, that makes a lot more sense. I was like, Julia Roberts is in a movie with Mel fucking Gibson now? No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
No
But-
way.
Overall, I don't want to crush your dreams, Squid, but I thought it was real fucking boring, man. I thought it was it was like 2 fucking hours. 2 hours.
It is.
Yeah.
No,
2 hours.
It's a
Yeah.
long movie to get through.
Yeah, but 2 hours of what though, Rob? What are you sitting yourself through on 2 hours?
It's Mel
Basically
Gibson's like
talking.
pseudo character from What a Woman Wants. It's
Yeah.
like that. It's like those awkward parts from What a Woman Wants, where you see him try to be quirky and funny. You're like, oh, that's Mel Gibson, yeah. And then you're just
But
like,
he's like serious here. Though.
imagine that moment just all the time in awkward, awkward mode. Just like,
Just that, but
oh,
like being ultra serious, and he's like,
yeah.
he was like driving a taxi cab. I remember.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
seems
what
like
his
taxi
job
driver
was.
almost. It really
Yeah.
does, because the movie is explained as a taxi driver, who is into conspiracy theories, and ends up being part of one, just like Robert De Niro's taxi driver. But overall, I'm gonna let you go ahead and speak on Squid. So you like this movie? So tell me why you like this film.
I mean, I probably watched this movie when I was a teenager because I was in my Mel Gibson phase, and my folks said, "Well, if you like this, then we're going to show you this movie. You might like it, you may not." But as a teenager, I thought it was really good. I didn't think it was boring at all because I was so fascinated with what I was seeing and seeing like all this conspiracy theory, and some of the things he said actually did kind of happen. But I watching it again, I wish I could say this movie has not changed or hasn't changed with the times, but it really has. And honest to God, I got bored with it. I did right about the hour and a half mark. I'm thinking, okay, you should be done. This movie should be over, and it's still continuing. I'm like, oh my God, why?
And spoilers for everybody. He finds himself in a conspiracy where, of course, it involves Julia Roberts, and he killed her father.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart is also.
Supposedly,
Dun, dun,
Patrick
dun.
Stewart, supposedly killed. But I loved Patrick Stewart's character as the villain.
Who
the
does not
scientist.
like Patrick Stewart? If
he's a
if
good
you
actor.
don't love him, then you don't have a soul. I'm fucking sorry.
Right.
That's the most truest statement I've ever heard on this show. Mark it down.
Yeah.
Write that down. Write that down.
Man, truth, Joshua.
Yeah.
But I loved how they even saying, he's part of this MK Ultra Manchurian candidate kind of situation. He was supposed to kill people. He's killed, but they weren't too sure on who he killed. But he didn't really kill anybody.
I just think there's other films that do it better, including one called
The Manchurian Candidate.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
The Manchurian Candidate. There you go. There's just a lot of Safety Not Guaranteed with Aubrey Plaza. It's exactly the same premise. It's about a guy inventing a time machine. Everyone thinks he's insane, and then of course he's really, he really has a time machine, and the government's really after him, and it makes it funny. But this movie was the same premise, but I was like, oh, dude, you guys are taking way too long to get to this point here.
Yeah, that's the problem, Rob. I think right there with the film. We're rewatching this film because I'm with Billy on this. Where I saw this film probably at the tail end '99 or something, and I rented it from the video store, and then watching it now in 2021, I'm like, all right, this is gonna be kind of cool watching an old '90s film, and it's like, okay, all right, we're 45 minutes in, we're still building. All right, now we're an hour and 15, and I'm looking at my clock like, okay, an hour and 15, we're almost done, right? And then it still goes past the hour and 30. I'm like, this is longer than an hour and 30 minutes. Oh my God. I mean, I can tell why, right? It's a large cast, even for the time, but my goodness, nothing happened. And I guess it's supposed to simulate most conspiracy theories where there's so much buildup and nothing comes of it. You know what I mean? Nothing comes of them.
I just think it's an interesting film because of all the conspiracy theories that are flying. That's why I wanted to bring it up right now, because I'm like, with all the conspiracy theories that are going around, it kind of just really funny that this movie is not more popular right now. You know what I mean? It's people need to learn from this film. You know what I mean? But I guess it's a future people didn't predict. And speaking of future, so Josh, what does the future hold for you in your career? Do you got any new projects that you're working on?
I do. So I've got a bunch of movies that I'm writing. I have an hour-long sci-fi drama that I'm hoping to get made soon.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
we like sci-fis.
I love
any little dark.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, so it's actually a dystopian future type of situation where it's an oppressed working class, and It's the awakening of an artificial intelligence robotic people. And basically the government is trying to create military AI robots, but one wakes up and and ends up like being totally in like enamored with the world and just wants to love everybody, which is the opposite of what he was made for.
Interesting.
So yeah.
I like it.
You should, in one note, please, if you could, write some kind of detail and call him Squid. Because that sounds just like his life in a nutshell. Right there. You got to make it where the
Swear to
guy's
God.
reprogram. He's like, what's the kill code? Squid.
Squid.
Swear to God.
It's squid.
You'll know Josh
Yeah.
you're right there. And you're going to be like, dude, I know that guy.
Yeah.
I know that guy. I know him.
And I also do a lot of audiobooks. So I have a new audiobook trilogy coming out pretty soon. If you're into romance, that's what I narrate. That just is what happened with the pandemic and me not having any other acting work. Is I just kind of like made an audio booth in my house, and I've just been
Nice.
doing all types of crazy voiceover shit. And this audiobook publishing company in the Netherlands found me, and they were like, hey, you got a cool voice, do you want to work for us? And I said sure. So I've got a lot of cool audiobooks coming out all the time.
That is really
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
They're like, where can we get this smooth voice on our audio programs?
It's basically just like mouth pornos, guys. Like that's kind of what I'm doing. But it's tasteful because it has a story.
No, hey, I write
There you
romance
go.
myself. I'm
Yeah.
a writer, so I completely understand. I know all about that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
trust me, I'm not embarrassed by it. It
I'm
gets
not
the
sorry.
ladies. So is there anything you would ever like to do in the future? Like not write yourself, but be a part of. Like, would you ever,
Yeah,
if
fuck yeah, man.
if they hit
Like,
you up and were like, be like, Josh, you want to be in fucking Star Wars? Would you be like, fuck yeah? Well,
basically anything that is owned by Disney now, I want to be in it. I really want to be in the Fantastic Four. Like, I really want to be Ben. I want to be Ben fucking Grimm. Like, I'm big. I'm
Nice.
sensitive. I
heard it here.
what?
They heard it here. This
Yeah.
is the casting call
This is
right
where you
here.
heard
I would like
Yeah.
to play the Thing, please. I'm very tall and I'm very handsome, and I can also punch stuff really hard. So it would be great.
He does his own stunts. Remember?
I do, sweeties. I can do my own things.
And his own voices.
And my
You
own
don't
voice.
need no one to
Yeah.
do the things voice. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrapped
But-
up right there.
I mean, I would also like to do some sort of like I've always wanted to play Romeo. I never got the opportunity to because I was always playing some big stupid thing that was in the play. While it's fun and I love that part of me and like it's usually incredible acting work, I want to be able to like I was speaking about in the beginning, is that I want people that look like me to be able to see larger dudes doing normal shit on TV and in the movies. We are constantly being laughed at, and we almost had a resurgence with motherfucking Louis C.K. and then he turned into every stupid large man fucking trope that I thought was on its way out.
Yeah.
So I guess I gotta do it now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean,
No,
like,
I admire
definitely.
that. I admire
Yeah.
that. I really, really do. I think
Oh, yeah,
I think
definitely.
there's really something to that because we're, and I'm not trying to like move into your, but we're a podcast that's like that too. We're one of those podcasts that talk about feminism in movies, how women should be in films, because we say it all the time. Sigourney Weaver is one of our favorite hero characters of all time, and it's
She's the best,
stupid.
man.
And it's just really stupid to think that, women don't deserve to be in any kind of films. And I really think that's what you're trying to portray too, is that, guys have souls too.
And
know,
they
guys-
can cry and they can hold and they can hug each other and they can
Right.
and all and but like, and that's awesome, and I'm so happy that that's what you guys do, because that's so fucking important too. Like all of that that like hasn't been part of our entertainment world for so fucking long for no reason needs to be there. Like
Exactly.
like not that there's anything wrong with the like 5'10", totally chiseled out, handsome dude, but like there's like 12 of those in the fucking world. Like,
Yeah, you're right.
There's
Yeah,
no
I know, right?
You can't
Like,
relate.
where's the regular dudes? Yeah,
Yeah.
there's too many regular guys out there that are looking at Thor and being like, that's great. Like, I'm glad that he was Fat Thor that one time, but it's like he's wearing a suit. It's like I look at me, like, right, and that's exactly. So calling back, we already talked about, but calling back to what's so great about this show after is, yeah, it was just so like I don't know. There's such a breath of fresh air, personally, to see something like that and see not only real but seeing you get a shot like that. I'm just like, see, now this is what acting should be. This is what it should be. It should be given to the people and given the shots to the people that can actually act rather than just going like, he's good, but we're gonna go with Joey Sixpack. You know what I mean? Like, but does he act? I think he's just a guy walking on the street. Oh, we'll make it work, and that's the name of the game.
100%. And and for those of you who may be misinterpreting what Steve is saying, he's basically saying not everyone can relate to John Cena. Basically.
Yeah. How many John Cenas are walking around the world? You know what I mean?
It's true. I mean, he is magical though. I do love me some John fucking Cena. But I totally understand. Oh, you can the TV show is on IFT network. That's where you can that's where you can see it. I haven't said that one fucking time this entire time.
No, I was gonna ask before we wrapped up. Yeah.
They have apps and you can watch on your computer and it's awesome. There's the last two episodes aired next Tuesday, and then you can just watch the whole thing and watch it over and over again. You can do whatever you want. It'll just be there for as long as they want to have it there. But I really, really appreciate that, man. That means a lot to me. That's why I write, and that's why I make this stuff. And yeah, and I hope that I'm able to do more stuff and that more people like me can do more great roles and great work. Yeah.
Well, Josh, we appreciate you having you on, and appreciate you coming on with us and sharing everything with us. Whenever you want to come back, you're an honorary Real Sharks member with us now.
Thank you.
Now,
So
thank you, Josh.
Appreciate you so much. Joshua, Schubart, everybody. All right. So this has been Rob, Steve, and the Squid. Yep, for the Real Sharks podcast. And we'll catch you all on the flip side. All right.